Hello, this is Alan Young again with Unscripted Thoughts, video number 4 in the series, getting back to the design process of a music stand, more specifically an adjustment bracket for the back side of a music stand. So in the last video, we discussed this piece that I designed and made a few years ago, made 3 or 4 stands with this design. And then my dad started working on the design, and he came up with this one, and we showed you how that worked in the last video. But I want to show you what he did, not so much to design that piece, but what he did to make it reproducible, at least on a small scale basis for me. So Dad went out to his shop when I said just make something, and he did what he does. He went through his scrap pile of metal, and he found a bunch of pieces, and he came up with the design. So what you see up here is based on what he found in his shop. So, for example, he had a whole stack of these discs, and they weren't welded to here, but I think they had the hole in them here was the only thing. They might have actually had the second hole, I don't remember. But he created a jig where he could mill the gear into it, and then of course we just had a lot of pipe, so he welded these together. The other thing is the adjustment lever made out of basic bar stock and a tab. But to make these things reproducible, he made some jigs. So the first thing he did was he made this jig so he could drill all these plates. I forgot to tell you about these plates. I don't know where he had these, but he just found a stack of them, and they had no holes in them. So he created that jig so you could drill a bunch of holes in them. And then there was another one where you could bend it. So the final one gets bent, and you get 2 of these back to back. So that's the plate. Then the main gear housing or geared mechanism, he designed this very simple little, again, just grabbed a bunch of innocuous pieces of metal, welded them together, put bolts in the right spot so that you could basically bolt that plate down here, clamp this in here, and it's all now set so you can weld this piece onto here. First you had to take this piece over to the milling machine and mill out a cavity for it. Didn't show you that. Anyway, so that's one jig. Another jig is this one, designed to weld the adjustment bracket. So that just fits in like that. You put the pieces in and weld it. So this is what Dad did. He made thousands of these sorts of jigs over the course of his lifetime so that you could reproduce parts. Anyway, so that's where Dad left off, and I had enough to make 3 or 4 of these stands, and now I'm pursuing one where I'm trying to replicate what he did, but in a smaller fashion. And I got up to a point where I had a lot of prototype pieces, and I was getting very, very close. So you can see that I made mine out of aluminum. It's lighter weight, and I thought I could move to brass if I needed to. So here's the this is the piece that would replicate that one, the adjustment bar. These 2 plates would go across this disc and then mount on a plate like this. So this plate would replace that one for the back, and these plates would sit on top of there, and then my adjustment bar would fit in here. So I got this to the point where it was working, but it still needed some refinement. Specifically, the overall mounting head gear bracket. So I was able to create the gear with a rotary table on the milling machine, and then I had to carve a slot down this piece on the milling machine after turning this on the lathe. And then I put these together with, there's actually bolts hiding in here, and by the time you turned it on the lathe again, I came up with a design that was, again, okay, but because I don't have a welder, especially something that would weld aluminum together, this was still seeming somewhat problematic. And that's where things stalled for me when I was no longer able to work at the shop where they had all the metalworking machines. Last few weeks or so, I've been totally reversing the process, and I'm not sure I can give much detail on it because I haven't gotten too far, but I'm moving away from all the intricacies of things that are spring-loaded and holes on both sides and plates and lots of screws and bushings, and just as the emperor said to Mozart, there's too many notes. So I actually found an old antique stand that has a function to it, and my good cousin in Minnesota, Dick Young, I drew up a piece to see if he could fabricate these. So he fabricated these pieces out of steel, and these will probably be the next direction I go. And if you have an inventive mind, in essence, this is going to be, this will be the pivoting pin that will pivot, in essence, in that position. Oops, I got it upside down. Again, my videoing with one hand is not that good, but this piece will become this whole thing here. And so it'll allow everything to rotate, and we'll have a pin that goes in and out. That's about as far as I am right now, but I think that's the next direction to go. And everything will be smaller. Probably end up making this piece out of brass, and I may be able to do that on a milling machine myself if I can get access to one. Otherwise, I can shop this piece out to another shop. But there is, for me, the way things sometimes develop. And I'm sure people in the manufacturing business go through this all the time. Come up with an idea, this part works, that part doesn't. That was really good. That's too big. Clients won't buy that. Whatever the circumstances are, designs change. But this is what's been going on with my project as I work towards developing a better, more artistic music stand design. And I think that's the end of this iteration of design videos for now. If I get some more inspiration on it, we'll talk about something else. Otherwise, that's how I've been involved with the iteration of designs and the thought process of how things come about. Thanks for watching.